What is up, you freaky folks? My name is Nick, and welcome to my channel, where I cover all things horror. Whatever you're watching, I'm making videos about. And I hope you're enjoying the last week of Halloween, because I feel like it always flies by before I can really enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching this 13 nights of Halloween video. I can't believe we're already at night number 8. Oh my god. But you know what? Around Halloween, we like to get actually scared. So in this video, I want to talk about a movie that I think is genuinely scary. The Blair Witch Project is a found footage horror film about 3 college students working on a documentary about an urban legend in Maryland. They hike through the forest exploring the local legend, but it isn't long before they find themselves lost. With each passing night, as they struggle to keep it together, something strange creeps closer and closer to their tent. Listen, I know this is a love it or hate it kind of movie, and if you hate it, you're perfectly allowed to. If you, like me, love it, you're also allowed to. Everything in film is very subjective, especially horror, and especially found footage. This wasn't the first found footage movie. Of course, there was Cannibal Holocaust before it. There was even a movie called The Last Broadcast that came out just a year before The Blair Witch Project, which was also about people recording themselves in the woods, although it's not good. But those movies also had footage that were filmed like a typical narrative feature used within the film. The Blair Witch Project was the first thing that felt real, like it was something just discovered and released to the public without any talking head interviews or additional material. When we think of a cultural phenomenon today, we think of something that goes viral on Twitter for like a day at most. Believe me when I tell you that the Blair Witch Project was everywhere for weeks when it came out.
Is this real or is it not? Because of the whole internet event that had happened.
I thought it was real.
The marketing was great. You know, everybody wanted to see it before it was even out.
It was important for us to explore the line between fact and fiction. Were these 3 young filmmakers, did they really go into the woods? Is this really a record of the last moments of their life?
Everyone had to see if they could survive a screening of the film, but most people just walked out complaining that the camera work made them sick. I was terrified just from hearing the stories of the people who saw it. The first time I saw the Blair Witch Project, I was either 12 or 13, and I remember it was New Year's Eve, and we rented a bunch of videos from Blockbuster because we were planning on staying up late and killing time before the ball dropped, and I rented the Blair Witch Project and Terminator 3, and of course, no one wanted to watch the Blair Witch Project with me, so I watched it alone in my room on one of those old portable DVD players. Did anyone have one of those? It was like a mini laptop just for watching DVDs. And on that tiny screen with its small speaker, the Blair Witch Project scared the living shit out of me. I had to immediately turn on Terminator 3 to try and recover from it. What makes this movie so compelling is the combination of naturally believable performances with tightly structured editing. All of the characters feel like real people you could be stuck in this scenario with. Even Heather, the most disliked character, is understandable as she becomes obsessed with filming everything because it's all that she has left to cling to. That's become a trope for found footage films since, but I think it totally works here. I have to say, one of my least favorite things in the world is camping in the rain. Anytime I have ever camped and it starts raining, I get the hell out of there. And you know, I was thinking about it because as horror fans, we are bombarded with horrific imagery, so we come to expect to see characters in trouble or danger or pain. And as I was rewatching this for the last time, I was just really thinking about the experiences these characters were going through because it just feels so real. And I was just like, talk about the most miserable experience of all time. They're just dragging this equipment through the woods in the rain, sleeping in this cramped tent. The thought of it alone gives me a headache. And while I'm sure it did suck to film this movie, the unethical treatment of the actors in this film really shows in their performances. I mean, just watching these people lose it as they become lost in the woods is a horror film in and of itself. And this is why I think more horror films should pair natural fears with their more meteor or supernatural elements, because when your characters are already in survival mode, it's only that much more effective when a genuine threat appears. I think The Descent is another great example of this. This is where the editing comes into play. Once our characters spend the first night in the woods woods, we alternate between scenes of them being lost and them being terrorized in their tent at night. This creates a constantly increasing level of tension that will push you to the edge just by hearing a twig snap in the distance. And this makes the scare so effective. There's a really great move done in the beginning when our characters interview locals about the legend of the Blair Witch, because that's what you do when you make a documentary, and because these people all have different stories, you're thinking, that's how local legends work, it's all just hearsay. But once you're in that tent, hearing creepy sounds out in the woods, you have all of these different horror stories to fill the darkness. And the scariest horrors are the ones that are created in our own minds. But I also think the horrific imagery in this movie is unique and unparalleled. The stick figures in the trees, the piles of rocks around the tent, they're simple little things, yet they also feel like they could be easily linked to something creepy in the woods. And I think this movie has two scenes in particular that just rank among the scariest things I've ever seen in any film. The one scene in the tent when you hear the kids laughing in the woods and then the tent is pushed on from all sides, that will always feel just so intense and scary to me. Even I'm just getting the chills thinking about it. And the end, of course, is utterly nightmare-inducing. As Mike and Heather wander through the woods, they discover a small house, and you're just like, don't go in that house. But also, they've been wandering on the woods for days. How do they not go in the house? Honestly, I almost didn't even watch the last 5 minutes of this movie because I was like, I know where this goes. I don't need to put myself through that again. But of course I did, because it's fun to be scared. But I found myself staying up later than I expected to, trying to get that final image out of my head. And that's exactly why I appreciate this movie. Rewatching it, feeling even more scared than I was watching it for the first time, that, to me, is the mark of a great horror film. The Blair Witch Project is a singular piece of horror that I don't think could ever be matched. Like the college students blindly walking into the woods for answers, as an audience member, I feel pulled into this film like I'm put under the spell of a witch, only to realize it once it's too late. I'm gonna give The Blair Witch Project a 5 out of 5. I think it's the type of film that stumbled upon greatness, yet it will always leave a lasting mark on the world of horror films. Also, as far as the Halloween vibes go, I have to say, I rewatched it a few years ago, and it was then that I noticed that when our characters go into town, there are some Halloween decorations up, and they're talking about it being around Halloween, and I was like, it's a Halloween movie! But I was just thinking about the events of this film taking place in late October, early November, and just how cold and scary that would be. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure you hate it, and that's okay. Don't worry, tomorrow we're gonna lighten things up with some tales of terror. Until then, feel free to follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss any creepy content. That's it for this video, but I won't stop you from watching another.